Hello everyone, we are Caleb and Ava. We went on a trip, and the tour group encountered an evil mountain demon that resembled a monkey. Let's begin. The mountain road was blocked, and the tour group got stuck at the mountain hotel. In the middle of the night, there was a knock at the door. "Open up. The road's been fixed. We can leave now." At the same time, I got a text message. "Don't open the door." During Labor Day, I signed up for a tour with my family, hoping to relax. But we ran into a mudslide on the road, and the mountain pass got shut down. We couldn't go back the way we came, so we had to stay at a nearby hotel for the night. The bus slowly pulled away, heading down the dark mountain road. Before we got off, the tour guide warned us, "You're in the middle of nowhere. Whatever you do, don't go out tonight. Stay in your rooms." As I passed the guide, I noticed her face was tense, her hands pressed together, silently praying for something. The hotel had dim lights, and as I stood in the lobby, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was watching from the shadows. I rubbed my arms, covered in goosebumps, and looked out the window. It was pitch dark outside. Nothing. The receptionist was an old woman, wearing headphones and glued to a tablet, watching the latest American TV show. There were all kinds of fruit and snacks on the desk. I thought to myself, this old lady's pretty trendy. But wait, it was boiling hot outside and she was wearing a thick sweater. Wasn't she hot? Soon our rooms were ready. My mom and I got a room, and my dad and brother got another one. Rooms 204 and 205. The hotel had 3 floors, 6 rooms per floor. With 30 tourists plus the guide and driver, the place was full. Suddenly, there was a chittering sound coming from outside the lobby. A bunch of monkeys ran in, braving the rain. They dashed straight to the front desk and started grabbing fruit and snacks. Turns out, the snacks were for the monkeys. The old lady had a soft spot for them. Some of the monkeys were a bit naughty, eyeing the tourists' food, and grabbed it with their paws. One tourist, not having it, kicked a monkey away. "Get lost!" The guide's face went pale, and she rushed over to grab the tourist, forcing him to apologize to the monkey. She kept bowing repeatedly to the old lady at the front desk. The tourist rolled his eyes. "What's wrong with you? Apologizing to a monkey?" Then he dragged his luggage upstairs. The old lady stared after him, her cloudy eyes making me shudder. I quickly called my family, and we headed upstairs. Once we were settled, I lay on the bed. The guide sent a message in the group chat. "The road should be repaired by tomorrow morning. We'll leave at 6 a.m. The group was full of complaints, saying it was too early and asking the guide to push the time back. But the guide wouldn't budge. It had to be 6 a.m. I set my alarm for 5:30. I texted my brother. "I think this hotel's weird. Lock the door properly." "I know, sis. It's creepy. Plus, there are so many monkeys. I'll make sure the window's closed. Don't want any monkeys stealing stuff." With the sound of rain outside, I quickly fell asleep. Suddenly, a bang, bang, bang knocked on my door, waking me up. I sat up and saw my mom rubbing her eyes, about to open the door. "Who's that?" It's the middle of the night. As I saw my mom's hand on the doorknob, my heart skipped a beat. I was instantly wide awake. I rolled out of bed, dashed over, and blocked her from opening the door. I mouthed silently to her, "Don't open it." The person outside knocked again, and when there was no response, they spoke up. "Open the door! The road's fixed! We can leave now." My mom, still half asleep, nodded and mumbled, "Oh," before turning back to pack her things. I checked my phone. It was 3 a.m. Didn't the guide say we'd leave at 6? Plus, the voice outside didn't sound like the guide's. Just then, I got a message in the group chat. "Don't open the door." The person knocked a few more times, but when there was still no response, they stopped. I pressed my ear to the door, and I could hear knocking coming from the room next door. The group chat started blowing up with complaints. "Are you kidding? Didn't we say 6 a.m.? Why are they knocking at 3? Guide, you said not to open the door, so who's knocking out there? Is this a prank with you and the driver? This isn't funny. Yeah, I'm gonna complain about your agency when I get back. The person knocked a few more times, but when there was still no response, they stopped. I pressed my ear to the door, and I could hear knocking coming from the room next door. The group chat started blowing up with complaints. Are you kidding? Didn't we say 6 a.m.? Why are they knocking at 3? Guide, you said not to open the door, so who's knocking out there? Is this a prank with you and the driver? This isn't funny. Yeah, I'm gonna complain about your agency when I get back. The guide kept explaining in the group chat that it wasn't a prank, and she repeated the same thing over and over. Do not open the door, then tell us why we shouldn't open it. After a pause, the guide replied, just don't open it. It's for your own good. Don't open the door. I quickly dialed my brother. Don't worry, sis, I didn't open it. Dad's snoring like a chainsaw. He hasn't heard a thing. I sighed with relief. At that moment, my mom came out, looking confused. Ava, didn't they say the road's fixed and we're leaving? I hurried to cover her mouth and whispered, the person outside isn't the guide. Don't open the door. My mom's eyes went wide, her voice trembling. What about your dad and them? I quickly told her everything that had happened. I told her to go rest in her room while I kept watch at the door. The tourists in the group chat were freaking out. Every room in the hotel had been knocked on. Some said it was a prank by the hotel, trying to rob the tourists. Others said they'd already called the cops. But with the road still blocked, the police couldn't get here. We'd have to wait until morning when the road reopened. I could feel my palms getting sweaty. I called the police too, and got the same answer. I took a deep breath. Maybe it was just some prank after all. No big deal. 10 minutes passed, and there was no more noise. I lay back down to sleep. I still had 2 more hours to rest, so I needed to recharge. Just as I was drifting off, there was another knock at the door. I opened my eyes and checked the time. 3:20 a.m. When would this end? A wave of irritation and frustration hit me. I felt like going out there and giving whoever was knocking a piece of my mind. Just then, my phone lit up. I took a deep breath and grabbed it. Fuck this! I've had enough. You think this is funny? Everyone, I'm opening the door to see what the hell is messing with my sleep. As soon as he sent the message, the knocking stopped. I crept up to the door, pressing my ear against it. I heard the door creak open, then a short, sharp scream. If you didn't listen carefully, you wouldn't catch it. Something was off. Very off. The person who opened the door should have been the one who just sent that message. A few minutes later, I heard the door close. Everyone, it's fine. It was just a hotel staff member delivering food. This place is pretty considerate. You can all open your doors now. Then he sent a picture. Some hotel food. It looked pretty nice, with a good mix of meat and vegetables. The tourists in the group started regretting not opening the door earlier. Some were still cursing, saying, "Why the hell is the hotel delivering food at this hour?" But I'd been pressing my ear to the door, and I didn't hear anyone talking. I tagged the person who had sent the last message in the group. "Hey dude, what floor are you on?" "Second floor." "Don't worry, the hotel will deliver food to everyone. They're making sure no one goes hungry." Suddenly my back was drenched in cold sweat. My hair stood on end. When the door opened, everything went quiet. So why was he talking about the hotel delivering food? And with that guy's fiery temper, there's no way he wouldn't have yelled his head off. What the hell was happening in the hallway? Years of reading horror stories told me something wasn't right. Everything tonight felt wrong. I looked at my mom, sleeping soundly, and quickly called my brother. "That guy in the group isn't right. Don't open the door. Wait until the cops come tomorrow morning." "Don't worry, sis. I'm not that dumb. I won't open the door. What hotel sends food at this hour? The tour guide still hadn't said anything. Was she asleep? Right then, my phone buzzed with a message from her. Sorry, everyone. I misunderstood. It was just hotel staff outside. Next time, open the door when they knock. The food's really good and will help you recharge. Oh, by the way, we'll let you know when it's time to leave. Be ready to open your doors. Don't miss the knock. A cold breeze blew in from the window, making my skin crawl. It was all so strange. The guide's message sounded way too weird. Then, I got a friend request from someone in the group. His name was 202. I accepted it. Hey, you're the one on the second floor, right? I saw you ask about it in the group. I didn't reply. Don't worry, I don't mean anything by it. I'm just telling you, don't open the door. Didn't you notice how weird the guide and that guy were acting? Their attitude shifted like they weren't the same person. Also, I didn't hear anyone talking outside, just the sound of the door opening in room 201. I texted back. How do you know he's in 201? I don't know why, but I had this weird feeling, like a chill on my back. In that moment, all the blood rushed to my head. Wait, why did he know about room 201? I clearly closed the window before I went to bed. Why was there a draft coming in? I slowly put my phone down, swallowed, and crept toward the bed, grabbing my hiking pole. I turned quickly. There was nothing behind me, but for some reason the window was cracked open. A cold gust of wind was blowing in. I let out a sigh of relief. Maybe I hadn't closed it properly. I stepped forward to shut the gap. Just as I reached for it, a furry arm suddenly grabbed my wrist. My heart skipped a beat, and my hairs stood up. It was a monkey. It was hanging on the window, holding a knife in its mouth, grinning at me in the creepiest way. Fucking monkey. I grabbed the hiking pole and hit its arm with all my strength. It yelped and let go. I quickly shut the window and pulled down the curtains. Before I closed it, I saw those bloodshot eyes filled with hatred. A shiver ran down my spine. Can monkeys really have eyes like that? I hate monkeys. Once, when I went hiking with friends, a bunch of monkeys snatched away several bottles of water from us. They even kicked me a few times. But that's not the point right now. My brother was right. Monkeys can open windows. But it didn't seem like they were trying to steal anything. I thought about the knife the monkey had in its mouth and trembled. I called my brother and told him everything, asking him to wake up my dad. Keep an eye on the windows and the people outside. After that, I noticed 202 had sent me a ton of messages. Because I know him. He has diabetes. There's no way he's eating all that meat and fish in the middle of the night. He's definitely acting weird. Don't open the door. There's something off about this hotel. And the tour guide. Did you notice how pale she looked in the lobby tonight? She was as white as a sheet. She knows something. That's why she's telling us not to open the door. This sucks. We came here to enjoy a vacation and end up stuck in this mess. I gripped my phone tighter, preparing to tell him what I just saw. Thanks for the warning. We won't open the door. You need to watch the windows. I saw the monkey holding a knife with its mouth and opening the window. 2 minutes later, 202 replied, Shit, the window's wide open. I'm going to close it now. I put my phone down and checked the room. Everything seemed fine. I thought for a moment and decided to send a message in the group. Everyone, make sure the windows are shut tight. Monkeys are coming to steal stuff. If I said the monkeys had knives and were trying to kill people, no one would believe me. And with the tour guide and that guy acting suspicious, I didn't dare say too much. Steal? If I catch one, I'm killing it. What the hell? Monkeys stealing stuff in the middle of the night. I hate those damn things. Tour guide. Don't panic, guys. They just want to play with you. Tour guide. Monkeys are a gift from heaven, so treat them well. The guy from room 201 spoke up. Yeah, monkeys are kinda cute. One came in earlier, and I fed it some food. You guys won't believe this, but after I fed it, the monkey gave me some money. It's so clever. 202 replied instantly. Oh my God. Did you see what the guy in 201 said? I don't know what's going on with this hotel, but did he get kidnapped or something? He hates monkeys. He was the one who kicked the monkey earlier in the lobby. How could he feed them food? So it was him in the lobby. I felt a thin layer of sweat forming on my forehead. Everything was way too strange. An unbelievable thought crossed my mind. What if the monkeys killed 201 and the tour guide, then used their phones to send us messages? The goal being to get us to open the door. I chuckled bitterly to myself. No way. These monkeys aren't that smart. They can't type, can they? Maybe I've just watched too many horror stories. I'm being paranoid. Or maybe there's a murderer in the hotel. The thought made my heart race. A murderer. That's far more terrifying than any monkey. I quickly called my dad. He sounded like he had just woken up. What's going on? Caleb sounded all weird. You need to tell me what's happening. I rushed to tell him everything that had happened tonight. He was quiet for a moment, his tone now serious. Caleb, what time is it? 3:29 a.m. It had been almost 10 minutes since the last round of monkey knocking. By now, I had subconsciously come to believe it was the monkeys knocking at the door. Okay, listen. If someone knocks on the door, no matter what they say, don't open it. When it's quiet outside, take your mom and come straight to our room. Remember, do it fast and message me when you're on your way. I'll open the door for you. Got it. Just as I hung up, the knocking started again. Sis, open the door. It was Caleb's voice. Someone's chasing me. Open the door. Let me in. My heart twisted in panic. Dad had said no matter what they say, don't open the door. The knocking got softer, and I could hear someone outside crying. Sis, please open the door. If you don't, I'm really going to die. Dad's been killed. The guy who came in through the window killed him. At the last moment, he pushed me out. Sis, are you just going to let me die? As the words ended, I heard footsteps rushing down the hallway. The knocking grew more frantic. Sis, open the door. Open it. He's coming. He's coming. My mom woke up to the noise, her eyes wide open. She rushed to get out of bed to open the door. Caleb, don't be scared. Mom's here. I grabbed her. Don't open it. It's not Caleb outside. Mom stared at me in disbelief, tears streaming down her face. Ava, that's your brother. You can't do this. Mom, please trust me. I quickly pulled out my phone to call Caleb. I wanted to prove that the person outside wasn't him, that Caleb was safe in the next room. But then, why did I hear his phone ringing outside the door? My hands were shaking so badly that I could barely hold the phone. Why was the ringtone coming from outside? I answered the phone. Caleb's voice came through. Sis, open the door. Open the door. Save me. I'm your brother. I'm really your brother. Mom heard this and yanked her hand out of mine, rushing to the door. That's your brother outside. As I watched her move toward the door, an odd feeling surged inside me. Something was off. Everything was off. Why had the footsteps in the hallway stopped? Now, there was only crying from outside the door. I looked at the time. 3:31 a.m. It had been barely a minute since I hung up with Dad. How could a murderer break in and kill my dad so quickly? Dad had hunted with Grandpa in the mountains when he was young. He would have fought back. This was just too strange. Everything was too strange. It felt like everything was leading us to open the door. The moment my mom grabbed the doorknob to turn it, I rushed forward, pushing her aside. Don't open the door! Mom's chest heaved with anger. Her hands were trembling. Do you want your brother to die?" Then she suddenly slapped me across the face. My head snapped to the side, and I tasted blood in my mouth. "Open the door! It's your brother!" The thing outside heard us and knocked even louder. "Mom, help me. Dad's dead. Do you want your son to die too?" "Help me, Mom." My mom was about to break down listening to this. But I stayed still like a statue, blocking the door without moving an inch. "Mom, even if you beat me to death, I'm not letting you open this door. Think about Dad's build. Do you think he'd go down that easily?" It was almost as if my words were answered when my dad's phone call came through. My heart skipped a beat. I quickly answered, but didn't put it on speaker. My dad's weak voice came through. "Ava, I'm sorry. I held the killer off. You guys need to run. I told Caleb to find you. Has he gotten to your room yet? Pack up your stuff and get out of there." I gave a soft, without giving anything away, then hung up. Mom was pacing nervously, pulling at me. "What did your dad say? Is he okay?" "He's fine. He just told us not to open the door." Mom always listens to Dad, so she sighed in relief, patting her chest. "Then who's outside?" I shook my head. I didn't know either. But I had a guess in my mind, though I wasn't sure. I grabbed my mom's arm and turned to start packing up. I figured we'd go next door once the knocking stopped. I put headphones on my mom, worried she might lose control and try to open the door. The sound of my brother's tortured cries came from outside. Then I heard the sickening, meaty sound of something being stabbed. I felt my heart race as I continued packing, trying to stay calm. The noises stopped abruptly. "Sis, Mom, I hate you both." After that, everything outside went eerily silent. I clenched my fist to stop myself from opening the door. Once I finished packing my bag, my clothes were soaked with cold sweat. I went to the bathroom, splashed cold water on my face, trying to keep my composure. It was 3:35 a.m. The knocking had gone on for 5 minutes. I tried sending a message to my dad. "Dad?" No reply. My stomach tightened, and I instinctively swallowed hard. "No, it'll be fine. Nothing's happened. The thing outside still hasn't gone." I sneaked over to the door and pressed my ear against it. No sound. I crouched down and tried to look through the crack at the bottom of the door. The hallway was pitch black. Wait, there should be lights in the hall. It's dim, but it shouldn't be this dark. Just then, a flash of lightning lit up the sky. For that brief moment, I saw something through the crack at the bottom of the door, a pair of blood-red eyes. I clamped my hand over my mouth to stop the scream that almost broke free. I collapsed to the ground, the cold air seeping into my every pore. There was someone outside the door. No, wait. It wasn't just someone. It wasn't human. Its face was wrinkled, with sharp teeth. It looked like a monkey, but not quite. More like a human-shaped monkey. I don't know how long I stayed there, but after a while, I saw dim yellow light under the crack. It must have gone. I took a deep breath and pressed my face to the door again. I had to see what that thing really was, but I didn't see anything, only its retreating figure. The clothes it wore looked strangely familiar. A flash of recognition hit me. It was the old woman from the front desk sweater. Had she died? No, wait. I didn't have time to think it through, because I saw a message from my dad. "Now's your chance. Hurry over." I quickly grabbed my bag, pulled my mom, and we bolted out the door. We barely reached my dad's room when he cracked the door open and pulled us inside. Once we were in the room, I finally relaxed. All the strength drained from my body and I collapsed on the floor. Cold sweat poured down my face. I glanced at my brother. His face was as white as a sheet, and he kept clutching his chest, gasping for breath. At least my mom was better. She wiped the tears from her eyes and turned to my dad. "Hun, what the hell's going on?" Dad lit a cigarette and sat on the bed. He glanced at me and my brother, then snuffed out the cigarette. "The monkeys on this mountain aren't ordinary monkeys. They're mountain demons. Mountain demons. Creatures from the mountains that like to eat people at night. They can also make people hallucinate. But mountain demons? Don't they have those in zoos too?" Dad shook his head. "The ones in zoos aren't real mountain demons." Dad explained that, in the last 10 minutes, they had heard the same knocking sound. Our knocking. They also heard us talking about a killer chasing us. My brother was about to open the door, but Dad slapped him back into line. He said he'd encountered these creatures when he was a kid hunting with Grandpa. Back then, there were other hunters with them too. That night, we were completely fooled by the mountain demon. It was a near-death experience, but only 3 of us managed to escape. My mom was shaking, her hands trembling. Then, what should we do now? Dad stood up, pacing around the room, hands behind his back. The more people the mountain demon eats, the stronger it gets. This hallucination is intense. We can't let it eat anyone else. The demon is strongest between 3 and 4 a.m. After 5 a.m., it weakens. We need to hold on for another hour. Mom asked him, "Another hour? Are we waiting for the police?" Dad couldn't hold back anymore and lit a cigarette. He didn't light it, just held it in his mouth. Yes, during its weak phase, the demon will hide and won't act recklessly. Damn it, if we had a rifle, I'd just shoot it. Yeah, we're unarmed now. All we have for defense is a hiking stick. How are we supposed to deal with such a powerful creature? I took out my phone and called the police again. I told them there was a wild animal killing people on the mountain, and that they needed to come quickly. The operator said they'd head over as soon as the road was fixed. We just had to hang in there until the police arrived. The last hallucination felt too real. I didn't know how many of the tourists had managed to hold on. The group chat was already flooded with messages, 99+ notifications. The whole chat was filled with horror and despair. What the hell was that outside? Tour guide, get out here. Was that some prank you set up? Who's knocking on the door? It's my grandmother who's been dead for over 10 years. I'm so scared I'm hiding under the covers, I won't even step out. Can't send messages anymore, no matter who I call. It's my grandma answering the phone. I almost thought I was dying, and she was coming for me. Tour guide, what's going on? I'm reporting this to the authorities. I silently took note of these people. I sent them all friend requests. I've tried my best, but if they won't listen, there's nothing I can do. These were the ones still alive because they didn't open the door. After a while, the tour guide finally spoke up. Sorry, everyone. This was a little event we planned at the hotel. Don't you guys like it? I've already chewed out the hotel manager, don't worry. I've just been notified that the road's fixed. We can leave now. Some tourists in the group echoed the guide, saying it was just a small joke, and to be a little more understanding. I rubbed my phone, feeling grim. This group of people, most likely, are already done for. The atmosphere in the group started to lighten. People started saying they didn't want to stay in this crappy hotel anymore, and they'd leave immediately to file a complaint. A few accepted my friend requests. At that moment, 202 messaged me. That was scary. Did you hear the knocking just now? It sounded like my girlfriend's voice, but she's not even here. What the hell is out there? Sis, I see you're with your family. Can I join you guys? I'm really scared. Please, don't laugh at me. I breathed a sigh of relief when I saw his message. At least 202 was still alive. I was about to reply and let him join us when I got a friend request from 201. Don't trust 202. What do you mean? 202's already gone. Did he tell you he heard his girlfriend's voice? But he came with his girlfriend. How would you know? I wasn't fully convinced by 201. How did he know 202 was with his girlfriend? How do you know? 201 sent me a picture. It was a photo of 202 with his girlfriend entering a room. He also sent photos of our family entering rooms 204 and 205. I sent him a question mark. Sorry, I'm traveling alone in the mountains, so I'm being extra cautious. It's not about you guys. And before the knocking, I heard 202's screams. I was in the next room. The sound was crystal clear. Suddenly, it hit me. 202 had told me his window was open, and he needed to close it. So maybe 202 didn't open the door during the last round of knocking, but the monkey got into the room and killed them? But could the monkey really be that strong? Could it really kill 2 healthy adults? Just then, 202 spammed me with messages. Can I please come over? I'm really scared. I'm already outside. I'm at the door. I'm too afraid to knock. Please open the door. I gritted my teeth and cautiously replied, Where are you? 204. I see your family's in there. I'm not scared anymore. Cold sweat trickled down my forehead. 201 was right. 202 was already in trouble. I never told him which room I was in. How would he know I was in 204? And Mom and I had secretly moved from 205 to 204. No one else knew. How did he know our whole family was in 204? My body tensed up. That means the mountain demon already knows we're in 204. I ignored 202 and created a group with the other tourists, including 201. I told them not to trust the tour guide and not to open their doors. I didn't mention the mountain demon. I just told them there was a killer on the loose at the hotel. The tour guide was dead. I'd already called the police. We just needed to wait. Because I wasn't sure if there were more people like 202 among the tourists. But I couldn't just stand by and watch them die one by one. Besides, Dad said we couldn't let the demon eat more people, or it would just get stronger. By then, we might not survive long enough for help to arrive. Sure enough, more messages came pouring in. Some doubted me, some were scared, and others thought I was in cahoots with the hotel, playing a prank on them. I took a sip of water to calm down the heat rising inside me. I didn't have the patience to explain. It was almost 3:50 a.m. The next round of knocking was about to start. I couldn't understand. If the mountain demon was so powerful, why did it need people to open the door? And the only monkeys that came through the windows were just that. Monkeys. At 3:50 a.m., the knocking didn't start. I don't know why. I told Dad what happened. He nodded and told us to smear a bit of our own blood on our eyelids, foreheads, and behind our ears. The demon's power is stronger now. Next time, it might show us more hallucinations. Dad's lips were pressed into a tight line. His fists were clenched. That was his way of showing he was worried. Even though he was reassuring us that we'd be fine, we just had to hold on for one more hour. I knew it wasn't going to be easy. He just didn't want us to panic. Dad, why doesn't the mountain demon dare to come inside? He took me to the door. Behind the door was a strange talisman. The mountain demon is afraid of this, so it won't come in. It can only deceive its little minions to go inside and kill people, and then bring the bodies to it. The little minions are the monkeys? But how could these monkeys kill adults? One good kick from an adult and they'd have a concussion. Dad sighed deeply. These aren't ordinary monkeys anymore. They've tasted blood. Didn't you notice how much bigger they are than regular monkeys? I looked closely at the talisman behind the door. The color had faded quite a bit. I wondered if the person who drew it was still around. I figured they weren't. The former hotel manager must have known about the mountain demon. But now, this place was the demon's turf. Only the fading talisman was still protecting the safety of the guests. It was 4 a.m., and the knocking had yet to start. The small group was actively discussing what was going on. My brother Caleb, bored out of his mind, was chatting with them in the group. He kept reminding everyone to wait for the police to arrive. No one should open the door until the police show up. Caleb also said in the group that he'd already called the cops and they'd arrive around 5 a.m. Before 5, the road wouldn't be repaired. It must be a killer's plot. I silently watched the messages in the group. Caleb had been very clear. If anyone still didn't listen, there was nothing more we could do. At 4:10 a.m., the tour guide messaged the group. "Good news, everyone. The road's fixed. We can leave now. Pack up. Meet at the bus in 10 minutes. Many people responded. Ready to go, packed up, can leave anytime. A few tourists were still skeptical. It got fixed that quickly? Wasn't it supposed to be 6 a.m.? Tour guide. Of course, we're leaving now because there's a killer at the hotel. Aren't you all scared? Tour guide. Anyone who's not at the bus in 10 minutes and still wants to stay, well, we won't wait for you. What do you mean? Are you crazy? Who would want to stay here? Just so you know, I'll file a complaint when I get back and get you fired. Yeah, never met such an irresponsible tour guide. This trip has been a nightmare, and now you're making up a killer story to fool us. But the hotel really is creepy. I'm leaving, whether anyone else does or not. 202 sent me a message. Let's go. The road's really clear now. I know you're scared, so you didn't open the door. But I promise, I'm human. I didn't reply. I opened the small group chat. Some tourists were still unsure. Should we go? I'm so scared. I really don't want to stay here anymore. Yeah, let's go while we can. I don't want to wait for the police. I'm too terrified. I'm not going. I want to stay and wait for the police. I'm not leaving either. Who knows who actually sent that message about a killer? 8 minutes later, the tour guide tagged everyone in the group. The bus is ready, and it's leaving in 2 minutes. If you're not here, we won't wait. No matter how much people complained, the guide didn't respond anymore. I quickly ran to the window to look at the bus parked outside. It was quietly sitting there, blending into the night. It hadn't started at all. I asked my parents, and they confirmed it hadn't moved. But the group chat didn't reflect that. Oh, right. It must be the blood on our tongues. I rushed to the bathroom and washed the blood off my face. I needed to see what kind of illusion the mountain demon had created this time. Sure enough, as soon as I stepped out, the scene changed. The bus lights came on. Tourists were chatting happily in front of the bus. The warm light inside the bus seemed to be beckoning the tourists who hadn't arrived yet. Come on, hurry up. The bus is about to leave, giving off a cozy, welcoming vibe. More and more people in the small group began to waver. Everyone's here, and the guide doesn't seem strange at all. Yeah, let's go. I'm not going. I've had enough of this trip. I'll wait for the police. No one's convincing me. This whole thing has ruined the trip. I'll make sure to get my money back when I get home. My brother kept trying to convince everyone in the group. But some people still left the room. I asked my dad if the bus outside still looked dark. He nodded. I told him what I saw. After hearing me, he furrowed his brows tightly. It's okay. Don't be scared. We're going to be fine. But his trembling fists betrayed his true feelings. The mountain demon's power must have grown stronger. It was 4:20 a.m. We still had to hold on for another 40 minutes. Tour guide. The tourists who haven't come, just stay in the hotel. Good luck. Tour guide. We'll leave without you. At that moment, I saw the bus start moving, slowly driving off into the night. Tour guide, wait. I'm coming. Just wait 1 more minute. The bus stopped. I quickly smeared blood on my eyelids and forehead again. When I looked outside, my blood froze in my veins, and I went completely stiff. There was no guide standing in front of the bus, only a tall, shadowy figure. A tourist ran out of the hotel. Before they even got close, the figure reached out and grabbed their neck with one hand. The person's head jerked to the side, and they slumped to the ground. That was the mountain demon. It suddenly looked up and grinned toward our direction, revealing sharp, blood-soaked teeth. I quickly slammed the curtains shut. My heart was racing in my chest. This monster. It had evolved. It was 4:30 a.m. The group chat now had just 8 people left. Out of 30, only 8 remained. No, including the driver and tour guide, it was 32 people. The small group was full of fear. Some were regretting not leaving with the others. The main group was eerily quiet. I guess the demon realized it couldn't trick anyone anymore and was trying something else. Dad handed us the hiking sticks, telling us to be ready. My brother nervously asked, "Do you think the demon will come in?" Dad shook his head, a thin layer of sweat on his forehead. "No, but the monkeys will..." I silently added to Dad's words. They wouldn't just come in and kill, they could open doors too. I sent a message to the small group, warning them to watch out for the monkeys. The monkeys were violent and could hurt people. Stay armed. Dad pulled out a folding knife from his bag and tied it to the hiking stick. It was 4:35 a.m. There was a loud banging noise from outside the window. The monkeys, holding clubs and other weapons, were grinning and banging on the windows. "This won't do. The window's going to break soon." Dad told Caleb to stand by the window. "Caleb, listen to me. Open the window a little." Then he turned to look at me. "If any of those monkeys get through, it's your turn, Ava." I nodded, taking a deep breath and gripping my hiking stick tightly. I understood what Dad meant. This window would be smashed sooner or later. It was better to strike first, while there were still only a few monkeys. Once they overwhelmed us, it would be too dangerous. I focused all my attention on the window. Dad shouted at Caleb, "Now!" Caleb quickly opened a gap just big enough. The lead monkey, holding a knife, tried to force its way in. Dad quickly jabbed it with the hiking stick. One down, one more to go. The rest of the monkeys followed. But as more monkeys appeared, Dad's tactics weren't enough. The monkeys were clever and started banging on the other windows. With a sharp crack, one of the windows shattered. Luckily, the hole was small. The monkeys couldn't swarm in all at once. I grabbed my hiking stick and started hitting their heads like playing whack-a-mole. One sneaky monkey managed to slip through, raising its knife and aiming for Caleb's back. "Watch out!" Just in time, Mom came out of the bathroom with a bucket of hot water from the sink and splashed it right onto the monkey. The monkey screeched in pain, and I kicked it away. But more and more monkeys kept coming. We were all exhausted. We had injuries here and there. I leaned against the wall, gasping for breath. Then one of the monkeys bared its sharp teeth and lunged at me. I quickly dodged to the side, narrowly escaping. Wait! It wasn't coming for me. It was heading for the door behind me. "Mom! Stop that monkey!" Mom was the closest to the door. She grabbed an ashtray from the table and smashed it down onto the monkey's head. The monkey screeched and sank its teeth into Mom's hand. Mom's hand was instantly covered in blood. Through gritted teeth, she slammed the ashtray into its head a few more times. The monkey collapsed, motionless. Then I heard a soft click. The door was opening. Damn it. That monkey had unlocked the door. I ran to the door in 3 quick strides and pushed hard, but it wouldn't budge. It felt like some huge force was holding it shut from the other side. Through the crack, I saw a pair of blood-red eyes staring back at me. It was crouched down, head tilted, and staring right at me with a chilling intensity. I screamed in terror. "Dad, the mountain demon is here!" Everyone ignored the monkeys and rushed to help me hold the door shut. Tears streamed down my face from the overwhelming fear. Was I really going to die here today? No, I wasn't going down without a fight. But we were no match for the mountain demon. The door was slowly opening. Suddenly, the force from the other side seemed to weaken. We all felt a flicker of hope and pushed with every ounce of strength we had. With a click, the lock caught. We all let out a collective sigh of relief and collapsed onto the floor. It was 5 a.m. The monkeys suddenly shrank in size, throwing down their weapons in a panic before fleeing. They even kicked us as they left. Damn those monkeys. Dad's expression relaxed completely, and he wiped the sweat from his forehead. All right, it's safe now. We were so exhausted we couldn't even muster the strength to grab our phones. Caleb's hands were shaking uncontrollably, as if he had Parkinson's. An hour later, at 6:30, the police arrived. We told them everything, from start to finish. One young detective laughed out loud and said we were making up stories. An older detective glared at him. He seemed to know something. He took us to the station to file our statements. He told us that our bus had gone over a cliff early that morning. Only 6 of us survived. Our family, 201, and another family. I lowered my head, feeling a pang of sorrow. The other 2, they couldn't hold on. The bodies were all mangled, as if they'd been chewed on by animals. The older detective looked at Dad, then took him aside after we were done. After 2 days of chaos, we finally made it home. Dad said the old detective knew about the mountain demon, that the tourist bus and the bodies were all thrown down by it. Every few years, the creature would come out to cause trouble. He'd once gone into the mountains with his father to search for it, but found nothing. Professionals were needed for this kind of thing. They were already preparing traps to hunt it down. Since Dad had experience, they invited him to join the hunt. Dad agreed. I cracked my knuckles. Dad, I'm going with you.